Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. So, we all know Ethernet is basically the absolute bedrock of local communication, right? It runs everything from massive enterprise networks to your home Wi-Fi. But today, we are unpacking a seriously cool networking mystery. We're going to look at how our devices continuously and almost entirely invisibly find each other behind the scenes long before a single byte of data ever gets sent. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First up, we'll cover the two network identities. Then we'll look at how ARP discovery actually works. After that, we'll talk about why ARP stays strictly local. And finally, we'll zoom out to the bigger networking picture. All right, section 1, the two network identities. To understand how local communication actually begins, we've got to wrap our heads around two completely different, absolutely crucial network identities. First, you have the IP address, something like 192.168.1.10. Think of this as your logical network identity. It's what we use to route traffic across completely different networks. But then you have the MAC address. That's that super long, kind of confusing alphanumeric string. And that is a physical, hard-coded hardware identity permanently tied to your device. Both are important, but here's the kicker. Ethernet literally demands a hardware MAC address to communicate locally. It just won't work without it. To really cement this in your mind, let's use a simple analogy. Think of delivering a package. Knowing the IP address, well, that's like knowing the building address, say 221 Main Street. It gets the package to the right general neighborhood. But the MAC address, that's the specific apartment number, like apartment 4B. If the delivery driver only knows the building address but has no clue which apartment it goes to, that final local delivery completely fails. And that brings us to a really fascinating problem. What happens if your laptop knows the destination IP address of, say, a local printer, but it doesn't know its MAC address? I mean, how does your laptop actually discover the hardware identity associated with that IP before it sends the data? Who or what is doing that translation? Because if the laptop can't find that apartment number, the Ethernet frame literally cannot be built and communication completely stalls out. Well, the hero of this story is ARP, the Address Resolution Protocol. And what's beautifully simple about ARP is its one primary job. You give it an IP address, and it tracks down the corresponding MAC address. It bridges the gap. It translates that logical IP identity straight down to the physical hardware MAC identity. Without this invisible translation happening in the background, devices on a local network simply couldn't talk to each other. It really is the absolute foundation of local connectivity. Moving right along to section 2, how RAP discovery works. Let's break down the step-by-step process. So imagine you've got a simple setup, a laptop and a printer connected to a switch. The laptop wants to send something to the printer. Now, step 1 is all about saving time. Just like you'd check your contacts app before dialing a phone number, the operating system maintains a local memory bank called the ARP cache. This stores previous IP to MAC mappings. If the laptop checks this cache and the printer's MAC address is already sitting right there, boom, no discovery needed. The communication starts instantly. Caching is a huge deal because doing network discovery over and over again just wastes a ton of time. But what if that cache is completely empty? Well, the device has to go looking for the answer. Enter step 2, the ARP request. Since the laptop has no idea where the printer physically is, it uses broadcast communication. It essentially shouts at the top of its lungs across the entire switch, saying, "Hey, who owns IP address 192.168.1.20? And because switches forward broadcast traffic everywhere, every single device on that local network, your phone, the smart TV, the router, gets that message and checks to see if it's the one being called. So the entire flow goes exactly like this. 1. The sender checks its cache. 2. Finding nothing, it shouts out a broadcast ARP request. 3. All the local devices receive that request. 4. Only the actual correct device, our printer, replies, basically saying, "Yep, that's my IP and here's my MAC address." 5. The sender gets that reply and smartly stores it in its ARP cache for next time. And finally, step 6. The Ethernet frame is perfectly crafted with both the source and destination MAC addresses, and the data actually starts flowing. All right, section 3, why ARP stays local. Now, here is a really crucial point you have to remember. MAC addresses have local meaning only. When that laptop shouts its broadcast request asking who has this IP, the local switches forward it everywhere, but the routers absolutely do not. Routers connect different networks together, and they are specifically designed to block broadcast traffic from just flooding out into the global internet. Because of that hard boundary, ARP remains strictly a local tool, operating completely invisibly behind the scenes of your home Wi-Fi or your office network. That brings us to Section 4, the bigger networking picture. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, okay, but surely massive modern cloud systems have completely outgrown these basic protocols, right? Actually, no way. Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, Docker, Kubernetes, they all rely heavily on these exact same local communication concepts. Even when you're dealing with abstracted cloud hardware, virtual machines and containers still need a way to discover each other on virtual networks. The core principles of ARP are literally running right underneath the most advanced cloud-native systems in the world today. And because it is so foundational, it is incredibly critical. Listen, if ARP fails, your local connectivity absolutely breaks. Your sender might know the destination IP address all day long, but without that MAC address, no Ethernet frame can be created. Communication completely stops, period. Your device is totally isolated. And because it's so critical, it naturally becomes a massive target. Attackers love to exploit the inherent trust built into local networks. Think about it. If an attacker sends a fake ARP response saying, oh yeah, I own the router's IP address, the victim devices will just blindly believe it and update their local caches. All that network traffic then gets redirected straight to the attacker's system. It's a textbook man-in-the-middle attack, and it is exactly why cybersecurity teams watch ARP traffic like a hawk. That local trust can be abused so easily. Which brilliantly leads us into a few common beginner mistakes that we have totally busted today. Mistake number 1, thinking an IP address alone is enough for local communication. It's not. Ethernet needs a MAC address. Number 2, assuming ARP is this global internet-wide thing. Nope, strictly local. Number 3, ignoring just how much heavy lifting the ARP cache does for efficiency. And number 4, believing that modern cloud infrastructure just abandoned these fundamentals. As we just saw, they absolutely depend on them. And honestly, that is exactly why knowing this protocol inside and out is going to give you a massive leg up in so many IT careers. Whether you are aiming for network engineering, cloud architecture, cybersecurity, or DevOps, your grasp of how local communication bridges the logical IP to the physical hardware is going to be tested constantly. It really is the glue that holds everything together. So we have finally solved how devices discover each other locally, but it leaves us with a totally new, really exciting puzzle. If ARP handles local identity, how in the world do engineers test if a device is actually reachable far across completely different networks? How do tools like ping actually do their magic behind the scenes? Well, that provocative question perfectly primes us for our next explainer, where we are going to unpack the mysteries of ICMP. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you in the next explainer.